So basically this is a simple example of if statement. So I have set the variable answer as 6. Okay. So now we write the statement as if answer is greater than 5, then print you are overaged. Else if the answer is less than equal to 5 and answer is greater than 1. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 ages are covered in this. Okay. Else you are too young for the toddlers club. Okay. So what if we execute this? Okay, it will check the if condition first. If the answer is greater than 5, you are overaged. So it gets printed. Okay, simple. Now what if the answer was 4? In that case, this condition is false. So this code won't be executed. Now it will jump to the next condition. What is the next condition? Answer is less than equal to 5. Yes, 4 is less than equal to 5. And is answer greater than 1? Yes, 4 is greater than 1. So it will execute this code. Welcome to the toddlers club, right? And similarly, if it was let's say 0, then in that case it would go to the else condition. Okay. Now this was a simple conditionals example. Now let's take a look at the loop. Okay. So what we have over here is a list. Okay. List is a sequence, an iterable. Okay. So first type of loop. So basically you can use the range function, or you can use directly iterate over the sequence. Okay. So let's say for some reason the index of the element is important to you. In that case, you would go with the range one, and if it is not really important to you, you would go with the normal for loop. Okay, so what happens is for I in range length of pizza. Okay, so we covered list last time. So it takes the length of the list, which is 4. So in range 4, it starts with 0, 1, 2 and 3, and it prints the pizza I. Okay, so let's run this and see. Okay, so over here it prints the pizza first: New York style pizza, pan pizza, thin and crispy pizza, stuffed crust pizza. Okay, now in the second thing, okay, so this is an example of you know using conditionals inside the loop. So for choice in pizza, so the choice will be assigned one value of this at a time. Okay, and what happens is if choice is equal to pan pizza, print these two statements, else print this statement. Okay, so it starts with the first element, New York style pizza, it's not equal to pan pizza, so it prints the else part. Okay, then it goes to the second element, which is pan pizza. Okay, now pan pizza, that the condition is true, right? So it prints please pay $16, thank you, and delicious cheesy pan pizza, which is over here. And similarly for the third and fourth element, it prints this else part. Okay, and finally after our for loop is concluded, it prints finally I am full. Okay, so now let's see using the break statement. Okay, like I gave an example of searching name. Similarly, what if once the pan pizza customer comes, I want to stop. Okay, so in that case, for choice in pizza, it would go one by one to all of the list options. Okay, so first of all, New York style pizza, in that case it prints the else part as we saw above. Okay, I will first execute this. So it prints cheesy pan pizza is my all-time favorite. Now comes the pan pizza. Now this condition is true, right? So it prints this please pay $16, thank you, and delicious cheesy pan pizza over here. And now what happens is it breaks. Okay, so what breaks the means is basically it stops looping. Okay, so after that it won't be executed for these two elements because we have used the break statement once it gets into the if. Okay, so it stops right there and it finally goes to this statement, which is print. finally I am full. So it prints finally I am full. Okay. So this was a example for break. And let's see how our continue statement would work. So we have four again the same list.
Arnav, we have got a request to go slower. So, like, if possible, you can
Okay,
explain and go slow.
okay. Okay, so let's say I will take this example again. Okay, so we have a list which has four elements: New York style pizza, pan pizza, thin and crispy pizza, stuffed crust pizza. Okay, so what for loop does is we give it a sequence, a list basically, and it goes through all the elements one by one, and it gives the element inside the scope. Okay, so this indentation is the scope. Okay, so when we write for choice in pizza, the choice is assigned elements from the list one by one. So first it will be assigned New York style pizza, then it will be assigned pan pizza, then it will be assigned thin and crispy pizza. Okay, and finally the choice will be stuffed crust pizza. Okay, so now what will happen is I will modify this statement so you understand it better. Print choice. Okay, so I will be printing the choice over here, and let's run it. Okay, so first of all, as we can see, the New York style pizza is first choice, and since it is not equal to pan pizza, right, it's not equal to pan pizza, so it goes to the else part. What is in the else part? We have the print statement: cheesy pan pizza is my all-time favorite, right? So it gets printed over here. Now now it the choice gets assigned the second element from the list. The second element from the list is pan pizza, right? So again we print the choice, and the choice is pan pizza this time, right? So if choice is equal to pan pizza, is the choice pan pizza? Yes, it is pan pizza, right? So it gets into this block of code. Okay, so what happens now is it prints these two statements, right? And once this gets printed over here, you can see the second last and third last statement, it goes to break. So what break does is basically it stops the looping. Whatever the remaining elements are there inside the list won't be executed now. It would stop right there. It gets out of this block, and whatever the code is after the for loop, that is this print, it would jump to that. Okay, so now it breaks at pan pizza, so these two elements will not be covered now. Okay, it stops right there, and then finally it prints finally I am full. Okay, easy, right? Okay, now similarly again we have the same list, and we have the same for loop. Okay, so it will be assigned, the choice will be assigned one element at a time from this list, will be, so which will be a New York style pizza, pan pizza, then thin crust crispy pizza, and other options, right? Too much pizza. Okay, so now again, okay, so we execute this. So I have printed the choice again. First of all, it is New York style pizza. Okay, is it equal to this? No. So again, else gets executed, and in the second loop, what happens is basically it is pan pizza, right? So it gets into this block. Now, what happens when you write continue is continue says basically, hey, just skip this execution, right? Skip this iteration of the loop and jump to the next one. Okay, so what happens is when you write continue, whatever after it is does not matter. Okay, these two print statements won't be executed. It will directly go to the next element of the list, okay, which is thin and crispy pizza, right? You can see after pan pizza, these two statements are not printed, it directly goes to the thin and crispy pizza. It selects the next element and it starts over again the full iteration. So the current iteration is skipped directly. Okay, it goes to the next iteration. Okay, and then again the normal execution flow is continued, right? So let's say what if for I want to print just uh even statements. Okay, so if I modulo 2 equal to 0, okay, uh print I. Now this is how you normally write. Okay, but what if I don't want to write like this? Okay, this is not logical, but yeah, what if I don't want to write it like this? I say 1. When I say I modulo 2 is equal to 1, it basically says I want to select the odd elements and I say continue, and here I print I. It will create the same output. Okay, again the even elements. So what is happening is basically if I modulo 2 is equal to 1 means if the element is odd, okay, then I say continue. And when I say continue, whatever statements are after it, it just doesn't matter. It simply goes to the next looping of the for loop. Okay. So we have 0, it gets printed. When we have 1, it goes to continue. So new iteration is started instead of printing the element. So 1 is not printed. And similarly, all the odd elements are not printed, right? Okay, so over here we have another example, which is basically the sum of first 50 elements. So what is okay? So in range, like similarly in the slicing part, which we discussed last time, the first argument is considered as 1 if we, whatever number we write. Okay, so it will start from 1, and over here we have written x plus 1 because the last, let's if we write 50, then it won't be 50th won't be considered, it will stop at 49. Okay, so to consider 50 as well we have to give 51. Okay, so we write x plus 1, which is 50 plus 1, 51. Okay, and initially total is 0, in which we will be storing our sum. So for number in range 1 to 50, okay, in the range 1 to 50, all the numbers are considered one by one. Okay, initially total is 0, we assign total equals total plus number. So it will be for first element, it will be 0 plus 1. So now total is 1. Then it goes 1 plus 2, it goes 3, 3 plus, in such a manner it goes on increasing, and finally we print our total sum. Okay, so if you want to see, I will just print the number so you will get an idea. Okay, so you can see it goes linearly up to 50, and finally the sum of 50 numbers is printed. Okay, so what if we just simply want to use a counter? Okay, so okay, over here we have used while loop as an example. Now please note these parentheses, these brackets are not necessary. Okay, you can remove them. Okay, we have our result. Now let's remove it, and the result will be same again. But it is recommended to use these brackets wherever possible because it gives you a better idea, and it prevents you from making mistakes. Okay, otherwise if you are using some complex and or and much things, you will get confused if you don't have proper brackets. Okay, so initially our counter is 0, and we write while counter is less than 11. Okay, now comparison resolves to a true or false, right? So similar that so initially it will be true, 0 is less than 11, it gets in here. Okay, this part of the code will get executed, the first iteration, print the count is 0, initially it is 0, so it will get printed, and then we increment the counter, so now it becomes 1. Again it starts over from the first statement, first over here, 1 is less than 11, true, again it gets executed. Now this happens until counter is 11. Once the counter is 11, 11 is not less than 11, so the condition becomes false, so while loop stops over there, and we print done. So over here you can see count is 0 1 2, and it goes till 11, and finally it is done. Okay. Okay. Huh. Yes. Okay. So this is basically Python doesn't have switch cases. So what is switch cases? So we have if else and we can create multiple conditions using it. But it's one, what if we have too many conditions, like 50, 100 conditions? In that case, we don't want to write so many if else statements, right? One after one, we would get mad. So what we can do is basically other programming languages have switch cases, but Python directly doesn't have the switch cases. But what we can do is, as a workaround, we can use a dictionary as a switch case. Okay, so we discussed dictionary last time, right? So what we can do is, inside the dictionary we can use our condition or the switch case as the key, and corresponding value or answer as the value. Okay, so basically what happens is, when we want to, let's say, access case 0, it will return 0, case 1 it will return 1, case 2 it will return 2. Okay, so how do we access it? So what we do is switcher, which is the dictionary's name, dot get, which is the dictionary's method, and pass whatever case we want. In this case we want 2, and after the comma, this is the default case. Okay, so what is default case? We have mentioned three conditions in our switch case: 0, 1 and 2. But what if the condition that we provide does not exist inside our switch case? So whatever we want to do in that case, we mention over here, which is the default case. When you find nothing, you do this. Okay, so it's nothing. So let's execute this. Okay, so first our case was 2. 2 corresponds to this string. Okay, so we print 2. Our output is 2. And once we give 3, now 3 is not in our switch case, right? It's not in our switcher dictionary. So the default case gets executed, which is nothing. Okay, so it gets printed. Okay, so similarly over here, you can take an input from user and you can use it in the similar way. Over here, B is our dictionary input. We pass input variable from the user to our switch case, and our default case is -1. Okay, so if we run this, input a character, I want, let's say I want B. The input for result is, the result for the input is 123. B case is over here, so it corresponds to 123, so 123 gets executed, right? Okay, so yes, basically, again it's a simple switch case. So what happens is, option is 1, 2 and 0. So first of all, the option will be 1. It assigns 1. We search for the 1 in our switch case conditions. We have 1 and it corresponds to Monday. Okay, so Monday gets printed. In for 2 we have Tuesday. So Tuesday gets written and it gets printed over here. And finally, when I say 0, we don't have that in our switcher dictionary, right? We don't have 0 condition. So the default case gets returned and it gets printed. No such day. Okay. Now, whenever we are writing control structures and the conditionals, uh, it is going to happen. It's bound to happen that you are going to get some errors or you are going to get wrong answer because of some small mistake in the flow. Okay, so whenever that happens, the first thing you should check is, are your conditions right? तुमने जो भी conditions लिखा है, do that represent what is in your mind? Okay, and after that, the second error which usually we make is the order of the flow, the order of the conditions which we mention. Okay, so this is an example for that. 0 to 18 represents group 1, 18 to 60 represents group 2, and 60 onwards is group 3. Okay, so over here I assign age as 4. Okay, now 0 to 18 is group 1, so it should lie in group 1, right? But what if we execute this program? It says group 2. Why? It is because the ordering of my statements is not right. Over here in the if statement, I write if the age is less than 60. 4 is less than 60, right? So this part of the code gets executed and it does not check the other conditions. So else if and else will not get executed in any case, and finally the print group works and group 2 is printed. Okay, so the very simple way to fix this is change the condition. We take the 18 case upper and the 60 case niche, and now we execute it, we get the correct answer. Okay, so always keep this in mind. First of all, check your conditions. Second, check the order of your conditions. Now this is a very simple example, but when you will be working on actual programs, it will be comparatively much complex.